the GOAT Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Neander, the Neanderthal, as some of you know me. Good to have you all back. Thanks for joining us again. So, we got a good episode for you today. You know, if you're following along with the podcast, you know we're working on our 12-part series, our draft prep series, where we're running a full mock PPR draft from each of the 12 draft positions that you might have. So we want to give you an idea of what kind of team you can expect, to draft if you're following my strategy, my advice, my rankings. So you can see if you want to follow my advice. Quite honestly, I mean, that's really what it's all about. I'd like to help guide you through your season, help you with your starts and sits, with who you want to play. And that all starts with the draft. So that's where we're going to get started, right? So we've already knocked out the first 5 picks. The first 5 picks, quite honestly, the first 4 at least, pretty much a slam dunk in most people's eyes. We pretty much have a consensus on those top 4 picks. But as you move past pick 4 into 5, 6, 7, 8, more questions emerge, and obviously as you get later into the first round, even more questions. Some of these high upside running backs that have some pretty big question marks, and there's a good amount riding on your team if you go with one of these question mark running backs as opposed to a tried and true top end receiver. But we're going to get into that. So today we're going to be picking from the 6th pick. That's what we have going on. So, this is going to be, again, full PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, and a flex. I think we have 6 bench positions, I think, ready to go. So, we'll see what we wind up with at the number 6 pick here. I have a feeling we're going to be choosing between, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, somebody like that. So we'll see what happens here. All right. So our draft has started, and all right. Well, it looks like maybe the questions about the contract are a little concerned. So Alvin Kamara actually did not go in the first 5 picks. It went McCaffrey, Barkley, Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Michael Thomas. So this is not completely out of the realm of possibility here that Kamara could fall. So we're going to look at our cheat sheets here and see who else is there. There's Alvin Kamara, obviously Derrick Henry, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Eckler, Mixon, Sanders. Some guys that typically fall to the the further end here. For most people, this is a Kamara, Henry, or Edwards-Helaire decision. They also might be thinking about wide receiver. So Devontae Adams, maybe a Julio Jones or a Tyreek Hill could go here. It's hard not to go with Kamara if he's falling now. I think the contract will get handled. I think he's going to play this year. It's kind of Drew Brees' swan song here. I don't think there's going to be that many opportunities left. And this is probably the best chance there's going to be. At this point on, you got to beat, even if you get to a Super Bowl, you got to beat a Lamar Jackson or a Patrick Mahomes. And even to get there, you got to go through, Russell Wilson and some of these other guys in the NFC. So, I think they're going to get Alvin Kamara signed. I'm going to go ahead and start this draft with Alvin Kamara since he's there. I think we already had a draft where we started with Kamara, but this is a real-time simulation in effect. And if he falls to me at 6 right now, with the information we have right now, today is Thursday, the 3rd. We're a week out. I'm going to draft Kamara here at the 4. That's just what I'm going to do. So, all right. Go back to the draft board. We're going to see what happens here. No big surprises. Well, I mean, I would say DeAndre Hopkins going as the number 3 wide receiver, again, is always a surprise to me. I'm a little down on him. I have him in the mid wide receiver 2 range, quite honestly. I think Julio Jones is an absolute slam dunk if you want to go wide receiver at that point. I'm thrilled. There's a guy that fell to me that I'm shocked is still here in the middle of the 2nd round. The problem is, there's actually 2 guys that fell to me that I'm a little torn up between. So you guys will tell me what you think here. So Allen Robinson went into 206, which was pretty surprising to me. After I picked Kamara, Henry, Edwards-Helaire, you can see Adams, Hopkins, Mixon, Eckler. Some more receivers. Godwin went earlier than he's been going. Right now you have a little bit of backlash on the running backs. I think with all the question marks, some injuries here and there, you're starting to see more receivers, climb up into that early part of the 2nd round. Excuse me. So right now I have Josh Jacobs and Travis Kelce available, and both of these guys are big targets of mine. And if I can get them in the middle of the 2nd round, Travis Kelce, this is about where he's going. Sometimes he goes a little bit earlier in the 2nd round. But Josh Jacobs is going to be an absolute beast as far as his touches go. And while I hate to pass up on Kelsey, I'm going running back. I'm going with Jacobs here. I just think that's a great value for him. Of course, Kelsey went the pick after, which is not surprising at all. So you have Kelsey that went, Chubb, Aaron Jones, DJ Moore, James Conner. Conner going at the end of the second round. So if you've been following along, you know I love James Conner. I think that's a good spot for him. Looks like he's the 9, 10, 11, 12, like the running back 14 or so off the board at the end of the second round. And I think he could be top 10. But he was going later than that. Now he's starting to creep up. So keep an eye on his value. If he starts going in the middle of the second round, then I might be more hesitant depending on who else is there. All right, so in the third round, we had Kittle, Mark Andrews went early in the third, Kenny Golladay, Mike Evans, and then Patrick Mahomes made it into the middle of the third round. So, what that means is that I do have my option of picking Lamar Jackson here in the third round, which, I think is the right value if you think he's the difference maker there. So I'm going to look around at the rest of these, tiers. And I got to tell you, this is a strategy I'm going to find myself going with often here. Is I'm going to go 3 running backs. I love the value of Chris Carson, still available. And when you look at this tier right here, Gurley, Carson, Bell, Gordon, David Johnson, I think Chris Carson's an obvious tier above. And I know I don't have any receivers yet, but as I look at receivers, I see this giant group of guys here. And there's at least 6 or 7 of them I'm happy to have as my wide receiver 1. And another 6 or 7 I'm more than happy to have as my wide receiver 2. So I'm going to go that direction. We're going to go with Chris Carson. Let's go back to the draft board here, see what happens. Adam Thielen, Cooper, then Lamar. So Lamar went a little bit later in the third round, a little bit later than he's been going, but still in the third. Beckham, Juju, Gurley at the end of the third. As we go into the fourth, as you see, Kupp, Fournette, Zach Ertz now in the fourth. But, all of this makes sense. Lev Bell, the reports about Lev Bell maybe looking slow and, just the disarray that just seems to be the Jets management, honestly. I think has Bell falling into the fourth here. Robert Woods, who's always fantastic value in the fourth. David Johnson. So now we're back up. We have 3 running backs. I think there's no doubt that we have to look at receiver, maybe tight end, but really we're looking at receiver here. And I'm actually pretty happy here. I haven't had a chance to get this guy on any of my teams so far, but when I go actually into my rankings here, he is my, let's see here. Where do I have him? I don't know. Either I can't read. Oh, there he is. All right. So the wide receiver 13 on my board, the wide receiver 17 here. But, oh, man. I also have the wide receiver 11 on my board available right now, and that's A.J. Brown. But because I don't have a receiver, I want to go with the more this is a tough one. Calvin Ridley or A.J. Brown? I'm going to A.J. Brown. I think the target increase could be there for Brown, and if it is, he's going to be an absolute beast. I think he's a real wide receiver 1. I do have him ranked 2 spots above Calvin Ridley, so that is a hard one for me. But, you're playing what comes to you. Oh, yes. All right. So this is best case scenario for me, honestly. So, when we look at who else went after A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley, of course, the next pick. That was the decision I was making. Cortland Sutton, Metcalf, McLaurin, Keenan Allen. So big run of wide receivers right there in the fourth. Kareem Hunt early in the fifth. I see him creeping up into that early fifth. I think he's going to be in the late fourth, honestly, in a lot of people's drafts. And then Boyd, DJ Chark, Devontae Parker. So now that would have been my next hard decision. Devontae Parker or Tyler Lockett. I have Tyler Lockett higher in my rankings, but I have him in almost every league. But in the 5th round, for me, Tyler Lockett is an absolute smash pick. If you've been watching, I love Michael Gallup. He's still there at 30. But I do have Tyler Lockett ranked 1 spot behind him. And Gallup might fall, and I still need a 3rd wide receiver for my flex. So I went with Lockett. Should be no surprise to anybody that's been watching the show. Gotta love bourbon. All right, here. So same thing we expect in the 6th round. The next 4 pack of quarterbacks are going, right? We know that it's Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, and don't know why I keep doing this. Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited. He's still available there in the 6. I have been going with wide receiver in the 6 pretty often, but I'm not going to do it today because my guy is there. So here's the thing about why I've been thinking about going with 3 running backs. When I look at my wide receiver rankings and the discrepancy between my rankings and expert consensus rankings, there's a bigger discrepancy between a lot of the wide receivers that are in the expert consensus rankings of that mid to late tier wide receiver 2. So they have them ranked essentially, maybe wide receiver 17 to 24, 25. And a lot of those guys are in my top 12. And namely, that is Tyler Lockett, Michael Gallup, and A.J. Brown. I have all 3 of those guys in my top 12, and I actually have them. When you see my draft board right here, but I drafted them in the order of A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Michael Gallup. The truth of the matter is that's the exact reverse of my rankings. I have Gallup as my number 7, Lockett as my number 8, A.J. Brown as my number 11. But it's all about knowing their ADP and where you think you can get them. I didn't think Gallup was going to come back to me in the 6th, but he did. So I look at my team right now and I'm like, all right. So I already told you I have 3 guys that I have as wide receiver 1s, right? So if I can find my thing here. So I have 3 guys in my wide receiver 1s. Let's look at my running backs and see where they are in my rankings. Kamara, Jacobs, and Carson. So Kamara is my number 2, PPR. Josh Jacobs is my number 9, and Chris Carson is my number 14. So I have 6 guys on my roster, and 5 of them are in my opinion, in the RB1 or wide receiver 1 conversation, and are projected there, and Chris Carson is just outside. So for me, this is a smash start to a draft. I love these middle picks. 6, 7, 8, give me it all day long. So, all right, now we have 3 wide receivers, we have 3 running backs. Unfortunately, Russell Wilson did go, and I would have loved if he went to the 7th, man. If I would have started my draft like that and then got Russell Wilson, that would have been, again, just a smash play. So now what happens is, I'm looking at the quarterbacks, and I need a quarterback. I would have thought about Russell Wilson. I think it's too high to pay for Allen, Matt Ryan, Wentz, Breeze. This is 2 or 3 rounds too high for me on all these guys. But in the mock drafts we've been doing, again, if you've been paying attention and following along, you'll know that these guys are going in the 7th round for the most part. And if I wait, then I'm going to wind up, and I like Stafford. So if I wait and I get Stafford, I'm fine. But I'm going to look at my depth here because tight ends, I'm still waiting. I really don't like this, 7 to 10 outside of Hayden Hurst. I don't love this area. I like Gesicki. I like Hawkinson. I like Blake Jarwin. So, again, you guys know that. I'm going to wait for those guys. I'm going to look at my depth here and say, all right, who's a huge upside play? The Bucks got Ronald Jones, and that's the Bucks got Leonard Fournette. That's going to start messing with Ronald Jones' ADP. So I think I can wait if I did want him. Looking at the wide receivers, I'm going to go Brandon Cooks. If he stays healthy all year, he has a chance to be a wide receiver 1, quite frankly. I don't have him ranked there, but he has that chance. So let's take a look at where I have him ranked. It's probably pretty, modest, I would assume. I'm going to try to find him here. All right. Kind of trying to remember who we were looking for, honestly. Brandon Cooks. So, I have him for 69 receptions, just under 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns as the wide receiver 37. So I have him basically as just about a wide receiver 3. I got him as a wide receiver 4, but in the 7th round. So, I'm okay with that, but the upside is there. That's kind of the point. So, all right, Josh Allen went, surprisingly, away from the trend that I've been seeing. None of the other quarterbacks went except for Josh Allen. So I definitely might think about quarterback here. It would probably be Matt Ryan, to be quite honest with you. So I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look at tight end. Again, the same tight ends are still there. I'm not big on Hunter Henry this year. The 8th round for Tyler Higbee with the upside possibility is a good spot for him. But I'm still going to wait. Because I have late round targets. I want to build my team the way I want to build them. Let's look at my quarterback rankings here real quick, just to get an idea of who I like better. So I do have Matt Ryan as my number 7 quarterback in projections. There's already 7 quarterbacks off the board, so it's not great, value per se. But I like him here. I just grabbed, what did I grab? Another wide receiver. So it could be time to grab one of these high upside running backs. I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's look around here. Jordan Howard, Breida. I'm still going to go with Ronald Jones because, quite frankly, he is starting to creep up into the 5th and 6th rounds. So to get him here now in the 8th, if he's still the bell cow back for the Buccaneers, as Arian says he's going to be, then great, I got a value. If not, he's not even my flex. He's my flex number 3. So I'm not sweating it too much. All right, so Matt Ryan went and Brady went. That's unfortunate. I played the game, figured some quarterbacks would go. Carson Wentz is still there, Breeze and Stafford. So Stafford right now is my target, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and just keep building on my running back depth, quite honestly. I'm going to go Antonio Gibson here. You're hearing a ton about him in the offseason now. Obviously, his price has gone up. This is the 9th round. You can get him at the end of the draft about a month ago. But, all right, so there goes the tight end run. 9th, 10th round. Henry, Higbee, Dallas Goedert goes as a tight end 1, right? Because how many are off the board? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, he goes off the board as a tight end 10. As the number 2 tight end on the team. That's pretty impressive for him. I can still wait, though. Again, I got Gesicki, Hawkinson, Jarwin, and Herndon, who are all there for me. Let's look at how many people have quarterbacks. So, as far as people ahead of me, only one guy needs a quarterback. So I could play the game and hope I get Stafford coming back. I'm pretty much the last guy without a quarterback, which is, quite honestly, never a surprise. There's one other team, this 3rd team here. So I can hope he goes Wentz and I get Stafford. I'm still okay with Aaron Rodgers, honestly. I think I could buy the narrative that he's going to have that, I'm going to show everybody, kind of year. All right, let's look at the team here, see if I need a wide receiver or a running back. So, I've got 4 receivers. I've got 5 running backs. It's really up to me. It's really dealer's choice here. If I want to just keep building depth, if I want to get one of my tight ends or tight ends or quarterbacks, I'm going to keep waiting for those positions. I mean, listen, this is something I do a lot of years. I wait. See what happens. So go back down to wide receiver here. I want to find someone I really like with upside. So if you've been following along, you know who I'm looking at here, right? Mecole Hardman, Alan Lazard are 2 guys I really love. Paris Campbell a little further down, but I don't have to reach for those guys. I'm going to go ahead and just grab my quarterback because I know I can get all those guys later. I'm going to grab Matthew Stafford. Why not? I like Wentz, but unfortunately they're just bitten. But, I got a value pick, thumbs up from the Fantasy Pros guys here, if you can see, if you're watching on YouTube. So that gives me a little bit of a nice validation there. No, I'm kidding. All right. So, again, all these high upside running backs are starting to go. A lot of these insurance policy guys, Latavius Murray, Kerryon Johnson, Boston Scott. See some of the young wide receivers starting to go here. Jalen Reagor, Steven Sims crawling up into the 10th round. So we have 3 picks left. We don't have a tight end. Again, we're the only team without a tight end. So we're basically the last team to get a quarterback. Right after us, the only other team without a quarterback got his. But we're the last team without a tight end. Let's look to see if we're going to get good value here on a tight end. Austin Hooper is still there. I haven't got a lot of Hooper shares. I got to move him down a little bit in my tight end rankings. Let's look a little bit at my tight end rankings here. Just to kind of get some verification. I have Austin Hooper way down at 17. That's way down, right? Blake Jarwin at 8, Gesicki at 10. I know for a lot of people that's very high for these guys, and it's going to mess with my, my draft score at the end here. So I'm going to wait a little bit more just so I can get Hawkinson and hopefully not fall too far, in my draft score. All right, I want to get these good scores. I want you to think I'm doing well, even though I know I am. All right, let's go Preston Williams here. Get this bad boy wrapped up. All right. I like Preston Williams. The first 8 games without, when Devontae Parker was on the field, Preston Williams was, getting equal targets, equal share, had, pretty good, connection, with quarterbacks as a young guy. He seems to be coming back strong from that injury in a short amount of time, which is pretty impressive. So I'm going to give him a shot here as a late round flyer. He might be somebody I use, might be somebody I drop, but I'm not sweating it too much here. All right, high upside, or, do I go high upside here or usable? I've got a lot. Let's just look at my roster construction here, get an idea. My running backs got, obviously, big usage guys, top guys here, lots of usage. Ronald Jones, Antonio Gibson, I went with upside. So I can go upside here. I have solid guys I can use, plenty of them. With wide receiver, I'm not sweating it. I've got plenty of guys to use here. So I've got one bench spot left. I've got my tight end that I need. Let's go to tight end here. Maybe we'll just wrap up Hawkinson. No, we're going to get Gesicki. I have Gesicki a little bit above Hawkinson. We're going to draft him. And let's get back. So we have one pick left. All right. Damian Harris, he got the injury today, the injury news, but we don't know what that really is. People grabbing backup quarterbacks, not the worst idea. Maybe I'll just do that. Let's grab a backup quarterback to finish this out. Who's there? Ooh, wow. So how many quarterbacks went? 18. So that means half the teams have already drafted a backup quarterback. If I don't, my streaming options are these guys, right? Tannehill, Burrow, Minshew, Cousins, Rivers. All these guys are streamable, right? I guarantee out of this group of 7 guys, at least 2 of them will be, top 12 on a weekly basis. It's just about knowing which weeks those are and hitting them. And that's really the hard part about, late round quarterbacks. We can look at high upside, other positions, right? Running back. Chris Thompson's still there. He might be a target monster in Jacksonville, honestly. Love Joshua Kelly at the end of drafts. We're going Joshua Kelly here. So, I was a big Justin Jackson fan. I love the numbers he was putting up. Let's see how great. Oh, hey, back on top. I like it. 90 out of 100. That's an A-. Not bad, not great. Actually, this is probably one of the most balanced draft grades I've had. A B+ from all 3 Fantasy Pros experts. I love this team from the 6th spot. I got to be quite honest with you. Let's review it real quick. Matt Stafford's my quarterback. The running backs on my team are Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson, Ronald Jones, Antonio Gibson, and Joshua Kelly. Great mix of high usage volume guys and a couple of really high upside, question mark guys. Love that. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, and Preston Williams. That is an absolute smoke show. The problem here is wondering who to play. Right now, my flex is Chris Carson. It could be Michael Gallup. It could be Brandon Cooks. That's a hard decision to make week in and week out. Week 1, probably Carson, because I know the touches will be there. That's going to be difficult. And that's hard when you have this kind of depth. That's the worst part. And then I have Mike Gesicki as my tight end because I drafted him late. I'm not tied to him. Let's just look at the projected scoring and standings here. All right, so they have my team scoring the 3rd most points overall, the 4th most points for my starting squad, and once again, the most points for my bench. So again, listen, these bench points is where you're going to win your league. People should have really good players in the first 4 or 5 rounds. Round 6 through 10, that's where you're padding your team. That's where you can play matchups. That's where you can play bye weeks and injuries without getting desperate on the waiver wire. So, as I said, when I look at this team, if Chris Carson gets banged up, oh no, Michael Gallup, who's my 7th ranked wide receiver, becomes my flex. He'll probably be my wide receiver 2 anyway. But you see my point. So, doing the research, knowing what's going on, this is the point right here. Look at this. Look at all those bench points, that big orange bar. That's where you want to be. That's how you're going to win championships. That's what you got to do. Hey, you got to listen to the GOAT. You got to watch the GOAT. That's what you got to do. You want to win. So, no, come on, obviously. I'm messing around, but we do want you to watch the show. I'm doing a ton of research, really working hard to make myself and you guys better for this season. So, that's going to do it. That's our draft from the 6th spot. Next episode, obviously, if you can count, is from the 7th spot. And, you might see some similarities there. I'm going to try to mix it up with some guys I like, but, you're going to see who I'm targeting in all these rounds. And we're going to see what my draft grades keep looking like. The point is, I'm not going to just draft different guys that I wouldn't normally draft for the sake of doing that. These are short episodes. I want you to know who I'm all in on, who's going to be on my teams. That's really the point. So, all right, guys, that's it for the episode. Make sure you watch us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like and share the videos, please. It helps us out a lot. Also, now you can listen on all major podcast platforms. You can go to Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, any and all of them. Check it out, all right? Have a great day, everybody. Be cool. We'll see you next time.